Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Monday, the 15th of December. We are halfway through the month. We are 10 days away from Christmas Day. Things are happening. And again, we are still in the middle of Advent. Yesterday, if you were watching Gospel on the Go, you will know that we celebrated the third Sunday of Advent, and time is flying by. But we're still in that time of preparation for the coming of again of Christ. Yes, indeed, we are also in the time of preparation for Christmas coming in the practical, secular sense. But I love the idea this year. For whatever reason, Advent has really struck a chord with me, and I really love the idea of sort of steeping ourselves in that sense of what is Advent and what is happening. One of the gifts of the Anglican Church of Anglican Communion is that we have many, many liturgy books, and this one is a New Zealand prayer book, and I love to use this one. Don't use it nearly as often as I wish I could, but um, was looking at the different collects. I'm going to share with you three different collects. A collect it's spelled collect, COLLECT, and it collects the thoughts in our thoughts in a prayer. And in this case, the collect for the week collects the thoughts or the prayer that we're sharing for this week. And so this week was the third week of Advent. And here are the three collects. The first one says this: God, for whom we wait and watch, you sent John the Baptist to prepare for the coming of your Son. Give us courage to speak the truth, even to the point of suffering. Call number two. Almighty God, you sent your servant John the Baptist to prepare the way for the coming of your Son. Grant that those who proclaim your word may so guide our feet into the way of peace, that we may stand with confidence before him when he comes in his glorious kingdom, through Jesus Christ, our Judge and our Redeemer. And here's the third collect. Praise and honor to you, living God, for John the Baptist, and for all those voices crying in the wilderness who prepare your way. May we listen when a prophet speaks your word and obey. Those are all three incredible collects. I really like them all. But that third one really caught my attention. Praise and honor to you, living God. So just I'm going to sort of parse this out and talk a little bit what it says. Praise and honor to you, living God. So right up front, we're doing the whole recognition and adoration of God. That God is a living God. How many of you right now living through whether it's the economy or the politics or the climate changes or just the days are so short, things like that, are struggling with this idea that God is still a living God? Now, granted, I'm going to tell you up front, yes, those of us who are Christians and say when we profess our belief, we know that God is a living God. We profess that faith every time we say the Apostles' Creed, whenever we say the Lord's Prayer. But maybe I'm the only one. I don't think I am, but maybe I'm the only one who there are days when I may say those words, and in my head I know, but in my heart it's a struggle. I know that God is a living God, that God exists, that God is real. But there are times when, when it's starting to go down in my heart, when my brain or maybe the other part of my brain is at work, that I kind of start asking those questions like, really? Where is God right now? It's not so much that I don't really believe that God is a living God, but sometimes living is like, how strong are you, God? Where are you in this? Why aren't you stepping up? How come? And I know that you pick your era, the world wars, Vietnam for the prisoners of war and the families back home, the bubonic plague, the serfdom and all the different eras of the world when if you weren't part of the upper class, you must have just sort of gotten up in the morning and thought, what's it all about? Is there really a God? And what's the point? Because there's not much going on down here that's worth living for. I mean, I think all of every generation probably has their own time when we ask the questions. But the fact is, we do ask the question. But we're called even when, maybe especially when we're struggling with understanding if God is still living, if God's still there, struggling with the idea that we would praise and honor this God. Praise and honor to you, living God. So here we are right now, third Sunday of Advent, looking around the world, turning on the news. Thank God for people like Rachel Maddow and Heather Cox Richardson, or Richardson Cox. I keep getting her mixed up, but people like that who keep me sane, and the comedians who have this incredible way of speaking truth in a way that makes us laugh and gives us permission to laugh. Thank God for them. But still, sometimes it's tough. So praise and honor to you, living God, for John the Baptist. How often do we take time to thank God for John the Baptist? We take time to jump over John the Baptist for the one that he pointed to, for the coming of Jesus Christ. But how often do we take time to actually give thanks for this lunatic prophet who wore camel's hair and ate locusts and wild honey? Like, he didn't need to. It's not like that was the fare of prophets. Keep in mind that for the Jewish peoples, it had been 400 years since they'd had a prophet. So, like, John went all out. Like, talk about the pendulum swing. He's like going to be a prophet. Hasn't been one in 400 years. Well, let me come out swinging. Here I come. Big time. Everybody's going to believe in me if I'm a lunatic wandering the wilderness wearing a camel hair coat, which would itch and be painful, and eat locusts and wild honey. Like, ooh, yeah. Okay, thank you, God, for John the Baptist. And thank you, praise and honor for all those voices crying in the wilderness who prepare your way. Wow, there we go. We may struggle with John the Baptist. We may struggle even looking back and saying, I don't know about this Jesus guy. I wasn't there then 2,000 years ago. And you know what? Right now, the way the Christian nationalists talk about Jesus, I'm not so sure I want to believe in him. But maybe I can believe in all those voices crying in the wilderness who prepare your way. Who are those prophets? Who are those people in our very lives who are out there right now crying in the wilderness? Heather Cox Richardson, Rachel Maddow, the neighbor across the street. Maybe you're one of the voices crying in the wilderness. And the thing is, I don't know so much that when some of these people are crying in the wilderness, are they really necessarily trying to do it for everybody else? Is it about, creating millions of followers on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram that people will come and follow them because they have this wisdom? Or are they simply crying out in the wilderness because they don't know what else to say? The truth is, we've got prophets all around us, people who are trying to say, Greta Thunberg, or what I think I got her name wrong, but speaking, crying out in the wilderness, saying, if we don't shape up now, we will ruin our climate faster. We are so far gone that we cannot stop the planet from basically disintegrating eventually. But we can slow it down a little bit. We can provide quality of life. We can keep some of the animals who are about to become extinct. We can stop that from happening as quickly if we change our tune. But we've got Greta out there screaming this to whoever will listen. And it's those voices in the wilderness like her. Voices in the wilderness like, the governors and the people who are out there trying, the Wab Canoes, the premiers of our provinces, the Mark Carneys, who we may not agree with him all the time, but he's pretty level-headed. There are so many people out there saying, I can't fix everything, but I can point in the right direction. If we started doing things together like this, what would happen? Praise and honor to you, living God, for John the Baptist, and praise and honor for all those whose voices crying in the wilderness who prepare your way. May we listen when a prophet speaks your word and obey. That's the key. We are living in a world that needs those prophets. And I believe in a God who is saying, I'm sending them. They're out there. They're out there in the wilderness. They are crying and trying to tell you this is what you need to do to prepare your way. But they can only do their part. You have to do your part as well. You have to be willing to listen and obey. Listen and obey. How are we called to listen to the voices that are calling in the wilderness right now? The wilderness of our climate, the wilderness of our politics, the wilderness of our economy, the wilderness of our own homes. For children who are needing a parent's care when both parents have to work. For older adults who are just silently crying out for help because they need someone to assist them. Our own hearts when they're breaking of loneliness or being overwhelmed or too tired. How can we take into our hearts that which the prophets are saying and then obey them? It's a big call. It's a big challenge. But that's really what Advent's all about. Preparing ourselves for that big challenge. Preparing ourselves for that moment when we acknowledge and prepare ourselves to stand up beside, behind, in front of those prophets who are crying out in the wilderness and saying, "Here I am, send me. I too will join them, and I will help bring about the earth, the peace, the hope, the love, the future that the living God is calling John the Baptist and all those other voices who are crying out in the wilderness, who prepare our way, to what God has asked us to prepare for, a way that is more glorious than anything we could ever ask or imagine." So who are the voices in the wilderness around you? And another question, for whom are you the voice in the wilderness? Give thanks for them. Give thanks for yourself. And then be prepared to go. Prepare that way and follow it. Have a great day. God bless you. And I hope that you enjoy this third week of Advent. I'll see you tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel.